last time I think I talked to you, your podcast, What's Left of Philosophy, was doing a stream where we were, among other things, talking about friend of the show James Lindsay, and in that stream, and since that stream, he's had some more thoughts, and this one, like I just had to, get your commentary on his thoughts in this particular case. So let's just do this clip.
That they had to incorporate fascism to make communism work. And so how did they do this? Well, Mao did his thing. The CCP runs China into a disaster. A couple of leaders later, you have Deng Xiaoping working with Kissinger and so on, and they open up the markets of China. But it's all at the pleasure of the party. It's all state capitalism, which is by definition fascism. So what do you have there? You have a communism with fascism inside of it, Communo-Fascism. So what is the dialectical opposite of Communo-Fascism? It's a fascism with communism inside of it, Fasco-Communism. So you have East Asia. We just don't have Oceania to always be at war with East Asia yet. So if you make China into this behemoth, a communism with fascism running inside of it, so that it solves the production problem of the Soviet disaster of communism, because it has now an open market that's running state capitalism, but still very wealth generating market. And then you can create the opposite of that in the West. If you can create a fascist oligarchy that decides to, sure, the people in the top are going to be the lords and ladies of the new aristocracy, and we are all going to be the serfs, mined for our data and our pod while we enjoy our mealworms and crickets, but it'll be equitable. So if you take that fascist structure and stick a communism inside of it, and then those are the two world powers, not exactly enemies, but frenemies. A communism with fascism inside next to a fascism with communism inside, and you let those things run next to each other, the natural process of the dialectic will eventually fuse all of it. And what you'll end up with is the kingdom. You'll end up with communism that works this time. And I think that that's the program. And so they are definitely using the race Marxists, because the Marxists are extraordinarily destabilizing. But the people who are funding this, the people who are dumping millions upon millions of dollars, billions of dollars into critical race theory to drag it out of the university where it should have just kind of languished because it's stupid. It got funded out of the university. That's how. It didn't spontaneously get out of the university. Bags and bags and bags of cash got dumped into fueling these movements, especially around the Occupy Wall Street time, to protect the banks. And so the fascist with the communist inside was born. And that's the objective. And because this is their magic. It's their faith. They believe that if you put those two opposites next to each other, and they're the only two opposites, that eventually the dialectical process will average it all out, but raise it up to a higher level. The Marxist word for that is sublate. The German word is Aufheben, which is the word that Hegel and Marx use over and over.
He is so Hegel-pilled. Oh my God, he totally thinks it's true. He's like, the dialectic is going to...
Yeah, communism with fascism inside of it is the natural dialectical opposite of fascism with communism inside of it, but the natural process of the dialectic is gonna merge them together. I think I got that right.
Yeah, that's what the Soviet Union was thinking when they lost 26 million people in a war to the fascist invaders, as all of the Soviet monuments in Berlin say. Glory to the warriors against the fascist invaders of the glorious Soviet Union. That's pretty wild. What do you think about that? What thoughts did that make you have?
Mostly that James Lindsay should spend fewer hours a day on Twitter. Like, I just don't think this could possibly be good for him.
He's gone mad.
Yeah, I actually, so I was listening a little while ago to a episode of it was a episode of Joe Rogan, and there's like a moment in it where there were like, Joe wants to quote from something that Lindsay said. And I think he wanted to find the tweet because he was going to agree with it, but like he asked his producer to find it. Hey Jamie, can you pull that up? And then like Jamie comes on, he's like, I can't find it, man. That he's tweeted 30 times in the last hour alone. And so in this totally unplanned way, because like everybody was just about to agree with James Lindsay about whatever it was, everybody just sits there and be like, wait, 30 times in the last time? That's not normal. What's wrong with him?
I feel like he's truly driven himself to the breaking point. Like he talks so fast. Like he clearly thinks that like no one can keep up with him, but like it's really unintelligible. Like I honestly, Ben, I feel like I'm about to like disappointing you because I truly don't, you know, and he might be right. Like I am not following really. So like, I'm not quite sure what to say that's constructive about that set of
Yeah, well,
statements, except for that it is indeed my plan to have fascism with communism inside of it in the West.
Yeah, Fasco-Communism.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I believe I remember that from The Simpsons, the commie Nazis from the Rainier Wolfcastle movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very strange. You know, I mean, he's an odd guy. I will. The thing that so he just put out this book, Race Marxism,
Yeah.
which is
I
a
did see
good,
that, yeah.
yeah, it's a good combination of words too, because like that sounds like you know, I think people could like fill in what that sounds like, but but this is like apparently like a crazily popular book. Like people must be like buying this like mad, because I looked the other day and it was like the number one. It was like the number 100 book on like all of Amazon at that point, you know. So race Marxism is really selling, but
It's like kind of painful for it.
yeah,
I'm a little getting
no, it's not good.
Mhm.
But I guess one thing that does occur to me is that I am really curious about what James Lindsay thinks that Marxism is.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a very awkward transition, what we're going to talk about. And to be honest, I only played that clip because I thought it was funny. But
It is funny. It's also like when you told me how many people are buying that book, it got a little more.
That's just sad.
It took kind of a distressing turn.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I would love to just be like, this is like my normal reaction to this kind of stuff is like, what must it be like to like be in his mind? Like that's a wild set of associations, and he's really people like are bamboozled by it. It's like he has so much to say, he can't even get it out quickly enough. He feels like he's really found the secret, and you know, Godspeed. But like I am sad people are buying his book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the good news is that at least based on the screenshots I've seen, I'm guessing most people aren't getting through it, because that is not like that's not, it does not look like a page turner to me. I'll say
It's not
that.
a mind that's going to lend itself to readable prose. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that seems right to me. But so I guess Lindsay seems like this weird escalation of the like Jordan Peterson thesis from 2019, which was Marxism equals postmodernism equals blue-haired college kids who yell at me about pronouns. Like as far as I can tell, that's Peterson's view, and like Lindsay is the same thing, but just sort of like it's like this weird, much more coked up version that includes a lot more, you know,
That's
equals
what it
equals
is. It's
equals
coked
equals.
up. He's on drugs. That's what is going on. What else could it be?
And it seems like if you're trying to see, okay, what's going on, like how does like Jordan Peterson, even much less James Lindsay, like what does he think Marxism is? And as far as I can tell, this is going to sound like a caricature, and you know, maybe I'm being uncharitable here, but it really seems like they just think that like Marxism is the claim that some people are oppressed by other people and it would be better if society were different.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to think that. I mean, I think that's true, but also he seems to think that the point of Marxism is to like to control your unconscious and like brainwash you and like reprogram you. Like that seems to be his, you know, it's like a mind control kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I gather from like, because they think of like postmodernism as, you know, the breakdown of reason, the psyche, you know, it's kind of like they think that what Marxism is doing like electric shock therapy to the population. Like we're just going to totally, like that's what we're going to do a a cultural revolution on you, and we're going to rewire your brain, and we're going to brainwash you, because we just want things to be different. We just want that. Like, there's no reason to that. We just want that. And that's the thing that like I get from a lot of conservatives, when the few that I talk to in my life, it's like they think people are out to control them, and they, for the love of God, cannot explain to you why anyone wants to control them. Like, literally like sometimes they'll have some insights into like corruption or hypocrisy in the mainstream media and elites, and even capital, like there is such a thing to the right, like at this point, bad corporations, the globalists and so on. But like when you ask them, like, why do you think that these people want to hurt you? Like, what do you think? They just want to control you. And that's the answer. And it's like that. They get so much mileage out of that, like the idea that there are just people who want to control and exert power for power's own sake, that it just like seems like it just allows them to try to fit these kind of conspiratorial views to that end. And that's like just the opposite of what Marxism is. Like, we're trying to figure out why people want to have power over other people, and they're pretty distinctly different reasons.
You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive post-games on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.